stuck. Relax. Just relax a bit. Stuck. My chest is stuck.
He was buried up to his head in snow after being caught in a sudden avalanche.
Pick me up.
Edwin survived with only a leg injury, lucky that his brother was there to help.
Okay, nope, and nope. I don't normally mind being in a small confined space, but these videos literally made it hard to breathe. I just couldn't imagine being stuck under snow or inside of a tiny cave, unable to move or breathe deeply. If you suffer from claustrophobia, then this video is gonna be pretty tough to watch. Well, how's it going, you guys? I'm your host for this one, Landon Dowlatsingh. And Landon, do not put me in a small hole. And before we get into this video, I want to know, what is your biggest fear? Let me know in the comment section below. Mine isn't claustrophobia, but if I was in one of these situations, I'd be freaking out. So maybe I do have claustrophobia. I think I just have the fear of just dying. Alright, well, it's time to take a deep breath. Because this right here, this is the top 10 scary claustrophobia stories. Trapped in an Elevator starts us off at number 10. And I've been trapped before. And I didn't freak out for some reason. I knew I wasn't dying, but I knew I wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. Well, Nicholas White was working late on a Friday night when he went outside for a smoke break. Well, that was probably the longest smoke break of his life, because when he went to return back to his desk located on the 39th floor, the elevator got stuck and stopped working. He pressed the alarm a bunch of times, but of course the office was deserted and no one was working on the weekend. So he knew that it would take over 2 days before he got rescued. He didn't have a cell phone, he didn't even have any food or water. Every minute that went by, he was battling with his intense fear of claustrophobia. And you can see this as he paces around the elevator. He spent a total of 41 hours trapped inside of this tiny elevator before he was finally rescued at 4 p.m. on Sunday night. He received a settlement from the building, but I bet he's going to be taking the stairs from now on, even though he's like way up there. Or at least he's going to invest in a really good cell phone. Climbing up this list, and at number 9, we have a woman who got stuck inside of a chimney. And no, she is not a chimney sweep. This woman tried to slide down the chimney and into the house of a man that she had met online and had gone on a few dates with. Well, let this be a lesson to you guys out there on dating apps. Always meet a stranger in public and don't bring them home unless you're prepared for them to sneak into your house via the frickin' chimney. Well, anyways, the woman was stuck inside of the small chimney for like 2 hours before firefighters had to come waste their time, because they could be out there saving cats. They had to rescue this woman. They used jackhammers to dismantle the chimney, and they lubricated her with soap to get her out of a sticky situation. She was charged with illegally entering a residence and providing false information. I don't know if she should be charged with illegally entering a residence, because she actually never got inside of the residence. I mean, you have to fully commit the crime to be charged with the crime. And I hope for this guy's sake that he put his house up on the market and he's gonna try to buy a house without a chimney. A man gets stuck inside of a wall, and this brings us to number 8. Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. How the hell does someone get stuck inside of a wall? It almost seems impossible to me, but apparently a homeless man got stuck when he tried to sneak into Marshall's from the roof. The employees heard a man screaming, but they didn't know where it was coming from. He was stuck in this tiny crevice for 3 whole days. Officers had to use a power saw to rescue him, and he was taken to a nearby hospital. They wanted to charge him for attempted burglary, but they thought that being trapped inside of a wall for 3 days, that would count as, you know, time served. That's probably equivalent to like 10 years in jail. I don't know. What would you guys rather? Like 1 year in jail or be stuck in a wall for 3 days? Number 7 brings us to Satan's birth canal. Okay, so the proper name is Airman's Cave Birth Canal, but I renamed it because it looks scary as hell. Take a look at this. I think I'd rather spend a whole day swimming in shark-infested waters than do this for 5 minutes. I don't know how people can train themselves to remain calm in a situation like this. I know for me, I would be freaking out and I'd probably, you know, hyperventilate. I would stop breathing pretty quickly and then pass out. And that's just for me being so scared. Someone would have to grab my feet and drag me out, because there is no way that I would be able to survive this. I just don't see the appeal of getting stuck in tiny spaces. I mean, can someone please explain this to me? There are so many other other hobbies out there in the world that doesn't involve and almost dying. Crashing in at number 6, we have an avalanche. Back on March 2nd, 2013, 2 people went skiing, but things took a turn for the worse when they were caught in a 6-foot deep, 1,200-foot wide avalanche in Colorado. One of the skiers never made it out alive, but Alex White managed to survive being buried underneath snow for 3 hours before he was rescued. According to the stats, very few people survive being in an avalanche for more than 30 minutes. So the fact that he was able to survive for 3 hours is just incredible. He also had a torn ACL, and his MCL was torn as well, and a deep cut on the back of his calf. His body was face up, but his head was 4 feet deeper than his feet. When people were trying to dig him out, they said it felt like they were digging concrete, and the man trapped underneath the snow said it felt like he was drowning. Up next, number 5, we have a man trapped 1,000 meters underground. In June 2014, a 52-year-old man was exploring Germany's deepest cave when a rock fell from the ceiling and smashed into his face. He was helplessly laying on the floor for 11 days with a fractured skull and a broken eye socket, and there was nothing that he can do but just wait. Experts spent 5 days planning his rescue operation, and more than 700 people were involved in this rescue mission. So you know what? Note to self, don't explore caves alone, or how about this? Just scratch it off, don't explore it at all. Anywhere that's dark or hidden or far from civilization, don't sign me up. I don't know what I would do in this situation. He must have been so scared and confused. He probably thought that he was going to die there. Parents who lock up their daughter in a closet for years comes in onto our list at number 4. An 8-year-old girl has been locked up inside of a tiny closet for 4 months by her mother and stepfather. She was severely malnourished, and she was only fed tiny pieces of bread and water inside of the dark, light-infested closet. She was forced to sleep on urine-stained blanket with no social interactions or daylight. When the authorities discovered her, she was only 25 pounds and 3 feet tall. There was urine and feces all over the small closet. Her teeth were black, her body had a bunch of sores on it, and her hair was covered with lice. Luckily, her parents were charged and sentenced to life in prison. I just hope that they're locked in a solitary confinement with a broken key, and we may or may not remember to feed them. We have another scary cave claustrophobia story, and this brings us to number 3. Alright, roll the clip.
Relax a bit. My chest is stuck.
This video clip is literally giving me anxiety. So my first thought while watching this video is, why the hell would someone willingly shove their body through a small opening in a cave that is filling up with water? And my second question is, who actually enjoyed doing this? I don't know about you guys, but I love to be able to breathe and, you know what, move around freely. I hope that I never find myself in a similar situation. And you know what, I for sure know that I won't find myself in a similar situation because I'm not dumb enough to explore scary caves and try to squeeze my body through tiny openings that, you know, you have no chance of fitting or even getting out if you do get in somehow. A man survived inside of a sinking ship, and this tale brings us into number 2. Harrison O'Keefe was on a tugboat with 12 other crew members. They were sailing through the harsh waters off of the coast of Nigeria when a huge ocean swell slammed right into their boat, causing it to capsize. O'Keefe was in the bathroom when the boat turned over and began to sink. He was thrown from one end of the small cubicle to the other end. Eventually he made his way over to the engineer's office, where he was able to find a small pocket of air. By this time, the boat was completely upside down, resting on the sea floor at a depth of 100 feet.
All right. All right.
This story is absolutely insane. He survived like this for 3 days with no food or fresh water. He was trapped inside of a tiny room with a little pocket of air, and his oxygen supply was running out. It seems like his odds of surviving were next to 0. And about 60 hours of being trapped like this, he was finally rescued, so he survived. Topping this list, at number 1, we have buried alive. Absolute scariest thing. A 37-year-old woman was pronounced dead, and a funeral was held for her in a small town located in Brazil. But her family desperately dug up her grave 11 days later because people living near the cemetery said that they can hear screams and moans coming from her grave. Don't you think that it would have been a great time to call 911? Once her casket was lifted out of the grave, they saw that she was no longer alive, but she had a ton of marks on her body that shows that there was a struggle. She had wounds on her hands and forehead, and the family said that those marks weren't there when she was laid to rest. Investigators believe that this poor woman was trying to escape her coffin for several days before she died. I mean, could you guys imagine? I think this would be absolutely the worst way to die. Well, there you guys have it. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video and getting to the end of this one. I will see you guys in the next most amazing top 10 video.